Chapter 37, The Buddhist Sects, Attitude. The world changed drastically overnight. Countless old powerhouses were reborn and countless young talents broke through the next stages in their cultivation realms. But all of this had nothing much to do with Lin Jufeng. In the cold palace, he continued his routine of signing in as usual. Do you want to sign in before the newly born land of extremely negative energy? A line of words appeared before Lin Jufeng's eyes. Lin Jufeng was astonished. A newly born land of extreme negative energy. What did these words mean? The original land of extremely negative energy was directly under the cold palace, where the demon lord from 1,500 years ago and the chasing corpse sect from 700 or 800 years ago had left their traces. Lin Jufeng had already signed in at this location before. But the gain wasn't that significant. Because thousands of years have passed in this land of extremely negative energy. In addition, the demon lord built a palace in the same land while the chasing corpse sect buried the corpse of their ancestor. As a result, the negative energy of this land was at its final dredges by the time Lin Jufeng came to sign in. The so-called land of extremely negative energy wasn't that useful anymore. If not, then the trapped soul of Imperial Consort Jia in the land of extremely negative energy wouldn't be so weak that she couldn't even kill Lin Jufeng, who had only recently started cultivating back then. It should be this rain that caused this huge change in the land of extremely negative energy. It made the true land of extremely negative energy appear. Lin Jufeng thought about it carefully and deduced. In the future, there would definitely be many terrifying places that would appear in this world. Therefore, he needed strength. Lin Jufeng resolutely said, "Sign in." Sign in successful. Received the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. In the very next moment, an insight to the great Tao and a fist intent appeared in his mind. It also included the true meaning of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Lin Jufeng was shocked. Making the 6 paths of reincarnation appear with one punch, this technique is indeed terrifying. This world was still somewhat of a high-level martial type of world yesterday. Lin Jufeng's strongest ability only enabled him to use his sword energy to kill enemies hundreds of miles away from where he was. But after the heavy rain, he immediately received the 6 paths of reincarnation fist after his usual routine of signing in today. Forcibly manifesting the 6 paths of reincarnation with a punch to devour and destroy the enemy. This world has completely turned into a fantasy type of a world. The pinnacle of the martial path has increased in this brand new world. There are more realms for me to break through now, Lin Jufeng said in surprise. No one knew how many great grandmasters entered the martial sage realm, and how many martial sages entered the life-knowing step of the martial sage realm after yesterday's rain. Even the white cat lying on the window ledge was emanating a formidable aura. It also managed to greatly progress in its cultivation. But the white cat's aura suddenly became violent all of a sudden. A wisp of black energy emerged from its body as it started to meow in pain. It made a mistake while cultivating. Lin Jufeng frowned. The white cat was too hasty in its cultivation. It didn't manage to properly control the huge amount of spiritual energy it had accumulated in its body. Lin Jufeng decisively reached out and grabbed the white cat into his hand as he infused his true qi into its body. Under Lin Jufeng's control, the white cat eventually recovered as it became calm. Then, it slowly opened its eyes. It immediately noticed that it was lying in Lin Jufeng's palm. Its abdomen was facing Lin Jufeng. Meow. The little white cat hurriedly jumped away from Lin Jufeng. It looked at him angrily before writing a few words with its paw. "Why were you hugging me? You made a mistake while cultivating," Lin Jufeng said honestly. The white cat's anger lessened upon hearing his words. Lin Jufeng was just helping it after all. Left without a choice, it could only write weakly on the floor. "You are not allowed to hold me. You've made a breakthrough into a new realm, yet you still can't speak. You really are quite stupid." Lin Jufeng shook his head. He had no intention of hugging the white cat at all. Although it felt quite good holding it. "I broke through, but I still can't see through you," the little white cat wrote. "Because I also broke through into a new realm. A realm beyond your reach." Lin Jufeng's mouth curled up as he said with a smile. The people around the world enthusiastically discussed the rain that fell last night. But a few days later, the rain was still falling non-stop. In the end, the rain lasted for a month. Within this month, young talents rose up everywhere. Besides that, there were also powerful cultivators from hundreds of years ago that started to appear in the world. Their presence completely disrupted the originally peaceful world. Young geniuses and old experts appeared at the same period and competed against each other. Countless powerhouses were brought together in this new world. It was simply unimaginable. The power of each individual continued to rise. The imperial court's deterrent power was greatly reduced as various violations of the law and people who committed taboos emerged endlessly. Lin Tianyuan finally made up his mind to target the Buddhist sects. An imperial decree was made. It ordered the demolition of the 80,000 monasteries and temples belonging to the Xuankang and Shaolin Temple. Of course, the buildings that their sects originally had were spared from this demolition order. However, millions of monks were ordered to renounce their faith and enter the secular world. Among them, the most sinful ones must be sent to the authorities to undergo a fair trial and receive the punishment they deserved after all this time. This imperial decree directly shocked the world. A new era was coming. This was an era where cultivators would undoubtedly flourish. Both Shaolin Temple and Xuankang Temple have a 1,000-year heritage under their belts. With their deep foundations, they had talents in both the older and younger generations of monks. It was only 400 years ago when the Yuha God dynasty was established. It only had a few martial sages underneath its banner, yet the imperial court actually dared to take action against these powerful forces. The whole world instantly became lively. Everyone wanted to see how the Shaolin and Xuankang Temple would respond. Zhongnan. On a majestic mountain range, there were statues of Buddha everywhere. The highest mountain was the Shaolin Golden Peak. Every day when the sun rose, golden light would shine on this peak, making it look like the kingdom of Buddha. This was the base camp of Shaolin Temple, Shaoxi Mountain. It was written in Lin Tianyuan's imperial decree that except for the temples on this mountain, every large and small temple outside of this mountain were to be demolished. After the Shaolin Temple received the imperial decree, they immediately held a meeting. In the Dhammo Hall, hundreds of monks sat in rows. Boom! The head of Dhammo Hall slapped the table angrily as he said, "Our Buddhist sect had always been independent for thousands of years. No dynasty had ever interfered with us, and we also never undermined the imperial court. We even disseminated Buddhist classics so that the common people can live and work in peace. But now, what is the Yuha God dynasty trying to do with us? Yes, the Yuha God dynasty is too much. It has only been 400 years since the Yuha God dynasty was established, yet it's already so daring. Shutting our temples is tantamount to destroying the foundation of the Shaolin Temple. We must definitely oppose this order to the end. I finally understand what catastrophe the Holy Buddha was talking about before he died. It turns out that it's from the Yuha God dynasty." The crowd of monks started their discussion. The abbot of Shaolin Temple raised his hand and said calmly, "There's no need to be angry. This is a new era. The seniors of our Shaolin have already made their breakthroughs. The martial sage realm is no longer that difficult to reach anymore. Some of them has even reached the second step of the martial sage realm. And there's also a senior who's attempting to break through to the third step, Fish Leap. The Yuha God dynasty is a secular dynasty. They are only relying on the powerful martial sage hidden in their imperial capital. But he's just one person. How can he drastically change the world alone? There is no need for our Shaolin Temple to respond personally. Let's just find some powerhouses that hate the Yuha God dynasty and we'll gather them together. I reckon that they will be enough to crush the Yuha God dynasty to death." The abbot of Shaolin Temple carried a faint smile, but there was disdain in his smile. This is the age of the cultivators, it isn't the age of the Yuha God dynasty anymore. Since they are not behaving, then let's just change the dynasty. As soon as these words came out, the monks of Shaolin Temple became excited. The Shaolin Temple that had been passed down for thousands of years must be this domineering at the least. How could they let themselves be bullied by a dynasty that has only been in existence for 400 years? There wasn't any reaction from Shaolin Temple at all. They acted as if they had never heard of this imperial decree. None of the temples under Shaolin Temple's command were demolished. Ignore. Shaolin Temple directly ignored the Yuhua God dynasty and the emperor, Lin Tianyuan. However, Xuankong Temple was even more direct. After seeing the imperial decree, it immediately announced that it would build another 100 temples in the Jiangnan area. It hoped that its believers would actively donate money to help the Buddha build a golden body. In return, they would be blessed by Buddha for their donation. These two sects didn't give the Yuhua God dynasty any face at all. But some people became curious as to why the Yuhua God dynasty was treating the three Buddhist sects completely different from each other despite the fact that their origins were the same. As an example, why didn't the Yuhua God dynasty target Dalan Temple too? Chapter 38, I Drew Human Gods. In the Jiangnan region, there were 3 Buddhist mountains, each located in a different place. They did not interfere with each other and did not have much dealings with each other either. Shaolin Temple's Mount Song, Xuankong Temple's Mount Heng, and Dalan Temple's Daqing Mountain. This was a majestic green mountain that was also the gate to the Dalan Temple itself. Unlike the magnificent Shaolin Temple, which was filled with Buddha statues with its color scheme focused on gold and vibe, glorious as it exhibited a secular yellow and white atmosphere. This mountain which Dalan Temple was on looked simple on the outside. But the essence laid within. One could not see any buildings on the mountain, nor could they see any Buddhist landmarks. The only way to see the brilliance of the Dalan Temple was inside the great mountain. Countless stone caves were chiseled out and divided within the mountain. Each of them had a number of carvings inside. Generations of monks of the Dalan Temple chiseled and carved with their own axes, forming exquisite carvings and moving Buddhist portraits telling ancient stories within this great mountain. Everyone who came and saw these lifelike carvings and paintings would almost certainly be shocked. The monks of Dalan Temple do not compete with the outside world. They guarded their own territory and practiced Buddhism. This was also the reason why Lin Tianyuan did not include them as his targets. Dalan Temple has also heard of the conflict between the Shaolin Temple, the Xuankong Temple, and the Yuhua God dynasty. The monks of the Dalan Temple were also talking about it. But because the Yuhua God dynasty did target them, they just watched from the side. The abbot of the Dalan Temple sighed tersely. The world of great competition has just arrived, and the Buddhist sects have already encountered this catastrophe. It really makes one worry. The Shaolin Temple ignored the imperial decree from the Yuhua God dynasty. The Xuankong Temple, on the other hand, even provoked the Yuhua God dynasty by building hundreds of temples. Their attitude was clear. For them, the Yuhua God dynasty was nothing. Everyone's eyes fell on the Yuhua God dynasty, waiting to see how Emperor Ming, Lin Tianyuan would react. Even people from within the Yuhua God dynasty along with a few aristocratic families, as well as some wildly ambitious people, observed quietly. Emperor Ming actually had the guts to issue such an imperial decree. He made his decree known to the world and offended these Buddhist sects. How would this matter come to an end? Forbidden City, Great Council Hall. Emperor Ming, Lin Tianyuan wore a grim look on his face. He was enraged. He heard of the Shaolin Temple's methods from his subjects and he snorted coldly. They have no regard for the law. But when he heard what the Xuankong Temple had done, he was even more infuriated. They are challenging me, challenging the Yuhua God dynasty. Your Majesty. The Buddhist sects are powerful, and the people in the Jiangnan area believe in them piously. The cabinet chief persuaded. Your Majesty, take it slowly. We can't go head to head with them for now. The court officials advised Lin Tianyuan. But Lin Tianyuan was confident. He was given the nod by Lin Zhufeng after all. There's no need to say more. Continue the preparations. The extermination of the Buddhist sects is imperative. Lin Tianyuan said firmly. Your Majesty, how should we proceed? The cabinet chief inquired. I have my ways, Lin Tianyuan said confidently. After dismissing the court officials, Lin Tianyuan could not sit still anymore. He left the palace immediately and went to look for Lin Zhufeng alone. If there were issues that he couldn't solve, ask uncle. He had developed such a habit. In front of the cold palace, Lin Tianyuan knocked on the door and entered. Lin Jufeng saw Lin Tianyuan. He asked calmly, "Why are you here again?" Lin Tianyuan's visits have been too frequent lately. "Uncle, the Shaolin and Shuangkong Temple have no regard for the law." Lin Tianyuan briefly explained everything. "Don't you have more than a dozen martial sages under you?" Lin Jufeng asked. "After the rain, the spiritual energy of the world is now extremely abundant. The martial sages that I have under me have become worthless overnight. I originally thought that a dozen martial sages would be enough, but now it's completely insufficient," Lin Tianyuan said bitterly. "Plans always fall behind changes." Lin Jufeng frowned before asking, "Will your father's reforms be done after we've exterminated those 80,000 or so temples?" "That's pretty much it. The next step would be to stabilize the situation and improve the people's lives." Lin Tianyuan nodded. "Bring me paper and a brush." Lin Jufeng waved his hand. Lin Tianyuan immediately ran out to take paper and a brush. The white cat walked out from the shadows as it wrote in crooked letters on the floor. "Why are you always helping him?" Lin Jufeng looked at it and lamented. "I'm not helping him. I'm helping my brother with his final wishes. Emperor Yuan fought for all of his life for the sake of reforms. Lin Tianyuan inherited Emperor Yuan's will and was also introducing the same reforms. But the situation was very complicated now. After the rain, the world had changed. Although Lin Tianyuan was the emperor, there were not a lot of people whom he could trust. If Lin Jufeng didn't help him, the reforms would be impossible to accomplish. Helping Lin Tianyuan was to fulfill his brother's legacy. But this will be the last time I'll help him. After eliminating those 80,000 temples, the Jiangnan region will become peaceful at once and the reforms will finally be completed." Lin Jufeng murmured. In the future, Lin Tianyuan would be on his own. Lin Jufeng would finally be able to continue his routine of silently signing in while pursuing the peak of martial arts. The white cat understood. It wrote and asked, "Are you going to Jiangnan, then?" Lin Jufeng shook his head. He softly replied, "The current Buddhist sects are not worthy for me to travel to Jiangnan personally." The white cat looked at Lin Jufeng, shocked. It wanted to inquire further, but Lin Tianyuan had already returned. Hence, the little white cat could only scratch a few times on the ground haphazardly to cross out the words that it had written. Lin Jufeng had seen the words it wrote, but he didn't care that much about it. But the white cat was too proud to let others see its crooked words. "Uncle, I brought with me the 4 treasures of the study." Lin Tianyuan placed the items on the stone table respectfully. Lin Jufeng lifted a brush and began painting. He painted the image of a grass, trees, and a sword. It was a very simple composition of green grass, river, trees, distant mountains, slanting sun, village. Lin Jufeng painted a second picture. A young man was practicing his moves with a horse stance, throwing out punches. After painting 2 pictures, Lin Jufeng put down the brush. Lin Tianyuan blinked as he looked at Lin Jufeng and asked, "Uncle, what does this mean?" 2 simple paintings. He was here to ask for help, not to ask for paintings. Lin Jufeng replied, "Let 2 martial sages each bring a painting and your imperial decree to the Shaolin and Shuangkong Temple. If they don't obey the imperial decree, open the paintings." Lin Tianyuan was confused. That was it. That was enough to get the agreement of these 2 delinquent sects. Lin Jufeng did not explain any further. He folded both paintings and put them aside. "Remember, don't open them in advance. Lives will be lost." Lin Jufeng smiled slightly and let Lin Tianyuan leave. Lin Tianyuan took the 2 paintings in a daze before he returned to the Forbidden City. The white cat came out and wrote curiously. 2 paintings, are you trying to deceive him? 2 paintings are enough. If it weren't for the fact that the 2 sects are in different places, 1 painting would be enough already, Lin Jufeng said softly. "What did you draw on the paper?" The white cat was very curious. Lin Jufeng thought seriously for a moment before he answered. "I drew human gods." The white cat stared at Lin Jufeng in horror. Lin Jufeng smiled faintly at it, his temperament became warm like a spring breeze. Chapter 39, A Visit to Jiangnan. Lin Tianyuan took the 2 paintings and returned to the Forbidden City. There were 2 paintings in the council hall. The 2 paintings were folded up. Although Lin Tianyuan did not believe that the 2 paintings could solve the problem he was facing about the Buddhist sects, he did not dare to open them. He still listened to Lin Zhufeng. Lin Tianyuan thought for a while before he ordered, "Call Kangshan and Beihai here." The eunuch immediately left to look for them. Kangshan and Beihai were a pair of brothers. They were unaffiliated cultivators, however, they were very talented. Soon after the world's spiritual energy recovered, they broke through to the martial sage realm. With the rebellion of Lord Taiping, Lin Tianyuan felt a great sense of crisis and began to recruit these unaffiliated cultivators. The 2 of them came, and they had been working for Lin Tianyuan since. Lin Tianyuan prepared a lot of resources for them, and they each took what they needed. After a while, 2 old men walked in. Each cupped their fists and said, "Greetings, Your Majesty. I hope 2 of you can go to Jiangnan." Lin Tianyuan said. Kangshan and Beihai looked at each other, they were reluctant to obey this order. "Your Majesty, it's not that we are unwilling, but it's that the Shaolin and Xuankong Temple are very powerful. Although we brothers are martial sage cultivators, we are only at the life-knowing step. We're not enough to go against these 2 great powers that have existed for thousands of years," Kangshan said bitterly. He didn't want to go to Jiangnan. Was there anyone who didn't know what happened between the Buddhist sects and Emperor Ming of the Yuhua God dynasty? Asking them to go to the Jiangnan area at this time would be tantamount to sending them to their deaths, wouldn't it? They were living comfortable lives under Lin Tianyuan and were also willing to perform some dangerous tasks for him. But there was a difference between danger and certain death. Lin Tianyuan knew what the 2 men were thinking. Thus, he said, "I'm not sending you there to deal with the 2 powerful factions, but for you to read the imperial decree. After the 2 powerful factions received it and agreed to it, there should be no need to fight." Kangshan and Beihai weren't convinced. If the Buddhist sects accepted the imperial decree, they would not have to fight. But what if they did not agree? Beihai was a plump old man. He was straightforward and he couldn't help ask, what if? What if they don't agree? Lin Tianyuan picked up the 2 paintings Lin Zhufeng gave to him and said, "1 painting for each of you. If they don't agree, unfold the paintings." Kangshan and Beihai stared at the painting in Lin Tianyuan's hand with suspicious looks on their faces. What was this? These 2 paintings were enough to take care of the 2 powerful factions whose teachings had been passed down for thousands of years. Similar to Lin Tianyuan, they couldn't believe it. Therefore, they still refused to agree. These 2 paintings were painted by that senior in the imperial capital. Seeing that they refused to agree, Lin Tianyuan had to tell them the truth. Kangshan and Beihai looked at Lin Tianyuan in surprise. "Is it that senior from 10 years ago?" Kangshan asked in excitement. 10 years ago, while the world was still in the midst of its recovery, both Kangshan and Beihai weren't martial sage realm cultivators back then. But they heard about that terrifying senior in the imperial capital who killed 9 martial sages with a single stroke of the sword. More than 10 years have passed since then. Both of them were already martial sage realm cultivators at the step of life knowing. Just how powerful was that senior by now? Kangshan said excitedly, "That senior really said that?" "Yes. I asked him how to calm the issue in Jiangnan. He told me that this is all I have to do and that is why I have asked you to go." Lin Tianyuan told them the truth. If he did not tell the truth, no one would be foolish enough to go. If he sent people who were less powerful than these 2, it would be useless. They might not even be able to enter the gates of both Shaolin and Xuankong Temple. Kangshan and Beihai looked at each other before they nodded in tacit understanding. "Your Majesty, we will accept this task," Kangshan said solemnly. Lin Tianyuan was overjoyed as he said in a hurry, "Don't worry, I will tell the world about this matter, so everyone will know that you are going to Jiangnan with the imperial decree. There should be no problems." Kangshan and Beihai nodded in agreement. By informing the world, there would be an extra guarantee for their safety. Also, don't open these 2 paintings before the opportune moment. Lives will be lost, so you must remember. Lin Tianyuan reminded them. This was also Lin Zhufeng's reminder to him. The expressions on the faces of the two immediately turned serious. Your Majesty, rest assured. We promise to complete this task, the two said at the same time. I will write the imperial decree for you now. Each of you will go to one of the Buddhist sects. Lin Tianyuan began to write the imperial decree. He thought about it for a while and with a flick of his sleeve, he wrote a strict reprimand letter as his thoughts burst forth like a fountain. Take it to Zhongnan. I will inform the world immediately. Lin Tianyuan handed the imperial decree to them. Kangshan and Beihai bowed their heads and retreated. With the imperial decree and Lin Zhufeng's paintings in hand, they headed to Zhongnan. After they left the Forbidden City, the Yuha God dynasty began to publicize this matter. Emperor Ming, Lin Tianyuan, wrote 2 imperial decrees. They were to be carried and read by the 2 martial sages at the Shaolin and Xuankang Temple in Zhongnan. The whole world was waiting for Lin Tianyuan's counterattack, waiting for the Yuha God dynasty's counterattack. As soon as the news was released, it spread all over the land like wildfire. It spread to Zhongnan faster than Kangshan and Beihai's traveling speed. They were martial sages and they moved extremely fast. But before they could even reach Zhongnan, the news had already spread all over Zhongnan. Both Shaolin Temple and Xuankang Temple received the news. The Shaolin Temple remained silent as if it had not heard anything. They did not express any opinions. They had built their own temples and under their command, none of them would be demolished. In contrast to the Shaolin Temple, the people from the Xuankang Temple welcomed the news. Come to my Xuankang Temple, lose 3,000 troubles, and forget the troubles of the world. We will save these 2 messengers. This was a blatant threat. Xuankang Temple was as arrogant as ever. They were monks, but they were arrogant and domineering. They had always been like this. When Kangshan and Beihai arrived in Zhongnan, it was already 2 days later. In just 2 days, rumors in Zhongnan were rife. Countless descendants of powerful factions, sects, and even the descendants of aristocratic families, as well as outstanding unaffiliated cultivators, had gathered at both the Shaolin and Xuankang Temple. They wanted to know how these 2 Buddhist sects would deal with Emperor Ming's messengers and how they would deal with the imperial decrees that were bound to arrive. The crowd was bustling and lively. Everyone was looking forward to the arrival of Kangshan and Beihai. The 2 men were shocked. The situation seemed to have escalated, Kangshan said. He looked uneasy. What are you afraid of? We have the paintings given by that senior. I believe they will work. Beihai trusted Lin Zhufeng. It was no small feat for Lin Zhufeng to have gained his trust without ever having met him before. I also believe in him. Since we're already here, there's no reason to retreat. Kangshan took a deep breath and asked, where are you going? Beihai stretched out his hand and said firmly, I'm going to Shaolin Temple. Then, I will go to Xuankang Temple. Let's part ways here. Kangshan cupped his fists in farewell. Take care, Beihai said solemnly. We have the senior's paintings. It will be fine. Kangshan smiled and said confidently. They headed to different places and both arrived at the foot of the mountains where the temples were located at the same time. Countless people witnessed their arrival. All eyes were on them. The doors of Shaolin Temple and Xuankang Temple were also open, allowing the 2 to enter. Kangshan and Beihai held the imperial decree in their hands and with Lin Zhufeng's painting in their pockets, they stepped firmly on the steps. Imperial Capital, Cold Palace. Lin Zhufeng laid on the frost jade bed. He closed his eyes and calmed his mind, feeling serene. Have you broken through to the human god realm? The white cat asked curiously. This was not the first time that the white cat had asked this question to Lin Zhufeng in the past few days. But Lin Zhufeng never answered it directly. However, the white cat persevered. You'll know in about 2 days, Lin Zhufeng said.